So I recently tagged along with a friend who had to go get his Panamera service, and at the Porsche dealership, they had this exact poster up on the walls. And it reminded me of all the cool posters and advertisements that I've seen put out by Porsche over the years. So in this video, I thought I could go over some examples, and so we can pinpoint what exactly it is that makes this brand and their advertising so cool, iconic, and timeless.
Porsche. There is no substitute.
Now, there's no doubt about it, Porsche is a sexy brand, and in the world of cars, they actually occupy a pretty unique position in the market. They're at that kind of crossroads between luxury and attainability. It's the realistic dream car for a lot of people, though with their recent attempts at trying to go up market, that dream is unfortunately slowly becoming a little less attainable over time. And putting aside their actual business method of a tight catalog of enduring and highly appealing models, one area where the company really succeeds is in their advertising strategies. They know exactly who their audience is and what language to speak to them. So let's look at some examples that prove how well the marketing team at Porsche knows their brand, their products, and the people interested in them. I've always denounced humor in advertising, especially for a high investment product like cars. When companies prioritize humor, you may end up with a funny ad that gets a chuckle, but you won't be laughing when you don't see a lift in your sales. Instead, what you should incorporate is wit. When advertisers go for wittiness, for cleverness, the end result is way more elegant and tasteful. It's almost a display of self-respect. More importantly, your audience feels much more respected as well. And most of the time, these ads also have way more longevity. Think James Bond making a wordplay joke at dinner rather than a clown using a whoopee cushion. And Porsche executes this idea very, very well. Taking a look at this one, what do we have? For me, I interpret this technique as taking the familiar and putting a different spin on it. Coming soon to a theater near you has been used in the film industry forever, and it's a phrase that everyone knows. Porsche takes this and molds it to their industry instead. The sentence also implies the speed of their cars, stating that they'll be appearing soon in a passing lane. Word choice is very important in marketing because remember, you are competing for attention here. Always remember to sub out a better word for one that doesn't quite do the trick. And remember to remove unnecessary words as well. One more thing I will note about this headline is it's pretty unique actually in that it doesn't even put the reader in the owner's position, but rather as kind of a witness to another owner passing them on the highway. This is another marketing trick that works wonders, making the reader think to themselves, well, my neighbor has it, that guy on the highway has it, why don't I have it? It's injecting subtle FOMO and it works great. Here's another headline that takes and repurposes an existing bit of material. You look at this headline and if you cover up everything else, you would think that this is an ad for Raid or some kind of other bug spray. It's only when we lay our eyes on the car that we have the full picture. You see, when you don't lay out everything from the get-go and you leave in some purposeful misdirection, it really elevates the ad. Once again, we have an ad that implies speed and quickly conjures up an image of a guy driving wildly down a winding path. No traffic, just pure velocity, mowing down any unfortunate bugs that are lingering in the air. It's a simple yet iconic ad with quiet confidence that just oozes aura. Now here's another masterclass of wit from Porsche. What I really like about this is that they don't avoid the elephant in the room, which is the price of a new 911 Turbo. What they do instead is ask you to jokingly reframe it using recontextualization. I get the amusing image of a husband trying to justify this expensive purchase to his wife using kind of a similar sort of guy logic. The ad says, our cars are expensive, we know they're expensive, we're selling you speed and elevated luxury and not affordability whatsoever. But if you feel the need to think in that frame, then here's a trick to help you with that. Totally awesome. Now, where Porsche also succeeds in their ads is their all-killer, no-filler layouts. Simplicity is always better than complexity in marketing, and these examples are no different. We have a big, bold headline, most of the time taking up as much space, if not more, than the car itself, and we have an aesthetic and bold image of the vehicle. And then a bit of body text to kind of further detail what can't be elaborated in the title. Porsche ads are quiet and slim, Whereas most car and dealer ads are loud, bloated, with just too much text and stimulus going on, the goal is to leave an impression on the viewer, not to squash them flat with information and visuals. Your client's time is very precious, so lay out your main idea, maybe make them smirk, and that's it. We also have the great use of proof in Porsche's ads. And this isn't just limited to speed either, though we do have plenty of examples of that, especially with that poster from the dealership. We also are reminded that the Porsche 911 has been around for more than 50 years now, and there's a reason for that. The car is timeless, it's evergreen, it's unchanging, and it's only being gradually and sparsely updated with newer standards and technologies. A great way to showcase this is to contrast it with the fleeting trends and the temporary products that came and went, all while the Porsche stayed right where it is, always available. This implies continuous demand and timeless design, and it's a great showcase of proof. No one wants to buy a car that's hot this year and out of style the next. It almost reframes it as a sort of investment, and you want it to keep changing your car and you can drive the same one for decades. My personal favorite example of this is the theme in this ad poster, which incorporates the idea of legacy and heritage and ties it in with a familial passing down to the next generation. The last point I'll touch on is the overall consistency and cohesiveness of the ad campaigns. We have so many clippings of this style of ad, and they all share the same visual cues, the same layout, the same mood. I think that's a very powerful technique. It lets people get familiar with your brand's aesthetic, and that helps it stay in their minds for longer. People like what's familiar, so if you have a winning ad campaign, keep reusing and repurposing it for as long as you can until it starts to get old and stale. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. It works for Porsche, and it'll work for you too. That's my take on the vintage Porsche ads from the 20th century. I still think they do killer advertising, but something about those bolder, classic ads just feels so stylish and timeless for me. And I highly recommend stealing like an artist and taking some ideas from these ads to use in your own advertising. And to help with that, I'll leave a link to a web archive from one of the main creative masterminds that was on the team behind those classic vintage ads. And if you have any ideas or suggestions to share of advertising from other brands that you'd like me to analyze, leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.